Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, yesterday we kind of were out of pocket all day, doing like a private search, and I filmed a little bit here and there when I was kind of by myself. So I'm gonna work on some of those today for y'all. But I kind of wanted to go over a few things this morning real quick before we get to running on our day. Yeah, it's a beautiful morning. It's a little cold, but it's pretty. And I wanted to discuss a little bit about something on the Sebastian Rogers case. There's a few things that I wanted to touch base on and kind of go over. There is a we got to get across this road. There is a something I wanted to bring up. Sorry guys for being paused. I'm trying to figure out, make sure I can get across this thing safely and not have to worry about cars in my way. But I wanted to kind of touch base on the CPS stuff. I had received some emails on a few things that I had asked about and wanted to know. You know, we checked like basically 10 different states, right, to get information from 10 different states on what their regulations are, and you know what do they do, you know, if there's multiple reports, whatever, not right. And I wanted to go over a little bit of that because I felt like some of this stuff, I don't know what that is, Ruby. I do not know what that is. Oh, it was like an old Christmas ornament. Look at the steam coming off of the water. Pretty this morning. But I did want to go over a few things because, wow, that steam's coming off of there. There is don't you dare go swimming there. You'll freeze your butt off, girl. I was curious on, you know, how many times do you have, you know, does it take to put someone out of a home and things of this nature, right? It just depends on what the complaints are about and what the proof is to it, right? And so I was kind of wondering because, you know, in the New Mexico case, we saw that Christopher Proudfoot, allegedly, these are my opinions. Remember that, guys. This is just my free speech, my speculations, my theories. Not to reflect the channel. Y'all's comments, y'all's alone, not to reflect the channel. We do our research together. We're a big-hearted little family, and we support all missing, all runaways, all voiceless. We fight for justice when they cannot fight for themselves. So me and Ruby are out here paws on the ground today, but I did want to discuss this because we saw that there was ordered by the New Mexico State Court 24, if I'm correct, 24 hours parent counseling classes, and then a few other things, right? And I'm not going to go into every little detail, but you know, that's one thing that's done if there's considered, like if they say they put you out of the home, sometimes you can have 4 or 5 calls and never get put out of the home, right? It could be, I'm just saying, it could be a boyfriend, it could be a stepfather, it could be their biological dad, doesn't matter. It could be on the woman's side. It really, I'm just saying, you know, it's the only way they usually put someone out of the home is as if there's an immediate threat to the child that's filing the complaints or having help to file the complaints, which we know in this case, I believe, was the school, either counselors, teachers, the nurse, principal. Somebody within that school was helping Sebastian, right? And so to make sure that his stuff got put out there, right? And you know, justice got done, and the poor little boy was protected. The poor little child was protected, right? Little Sebastian had his little soldiers at that school, and they were really looking out for him, like all teachers and faculty and staff should. A lot of times it's usually either the nurse, the counselor, or the principal, and it could have been all of them. I don't know, because I don't know how many there really were. We know now there's been rumor that there was 5 in the state of Texas, 2 to 3 in the state of New Mexico, Hendersonville, there's no telling how many, and there's no telling how many in California. There's no telling how many with his other 4 wives, right? We don't know. For 4 wives plus Katie be 5 wives, but you know what I mean. It's so many that you lose count. You can't, the next one you're going to be counting on 2 hands. That's how I look at it. Pretty much he's trading his wives in like driver's license, pretty much. And that's sad. There's a reason for this though. There's a reason that they're, that they're not making it, right? There's a reason that he's still pretty young and he's on his 5th wife. But anyway, don't step on that, boo. Anyway, as far as the immediate threat, that means that, that the child is in danger. They feel that the child is in danger of his well-being. And look at what we're dealing with. Right? Look at what we're dealing with. He's vanished. And that's why I bring up a lot of these other cases. The Nikki McCann case, the Suzanne Simpson case. A lot of these that were reporting the abuse vanished. And it's a pattern, right? It's a pattern amongst people, like Nikki McCann, right? She was fixing to go. She was 2 weeks away, I think, from going to court for what Tyler had done to her. I believe 2 weeks away. And what happened? She vanishes without a trace, right? Just a trace of a vehicle found 45 miles away that supposedly Tyler was driving for a couple of days after she went missing. So that's a big red flag. But as far as Sebastian goes, there's a lot of speculations. There's a lot of theories. There's a lot going on out here with Sebastian case. And I always say we can't lose sight of, little Sebastian. We have to continue to be his soldiers and fight for him. And look, Sebastian does not like fire ants. Ruby, do not get in those, please. And there's a reason to not like those, because as soon as you touch that, like if I had a little stick, I'd show you. But as soon as you touch these, get out of there. As soon as you touch these nests, they swarm out, right? And that's what happened to little Sebastian one time. And they bite and they sting and they hurt. And he did not like to go outside barefooted. He didn't. So as far as CPS, I'm wondering now if the New Mexico one we know was in the process of going through with the child custody court and everything else. He was ordered to take those classes. I don't know about Hendersonville yet. I don't know because I don't know if it had made it in front of a judge or whatever yet, right? I don't believe it had. And I think that was on the horizon. And, if he was put out of that home, if he was, right, then trigger warning times 100 million in this. If he was put out of that home, then that tells you what was coming next, right? Because we're looking at it in the New Mexico case, right? He would have been ordered this and that. And then they would have eventually caught on. My God, he's got him in this state, in this state, in this state. And then something would have shifted, I feel. And so, going back and researching some of this stuff and trying to understand the rules and regulations of it, it's truly painting a clearer picture to me. I don't know about to y'all, but to me, it's painting a picture of, she's having fun today, of the motive. The motive, which I've always thought it was the court, right? I've always thought that. And we know that Katie was trying to back Chris and basically write letters in to the New Mexico court to try to get that stuff. I think, where Sebastian could not testify for Nina or whatever for Faith. And then I'm wondering how much the Bowerstocks were actually involved, right? And who was in that car at 2:58, 3 a.m., 3:10 a.m., whatever time it might have been. We know it was before the trash truck. So, and we know now that it was a vehicle. We've seen it. We know there was an Uber driver too, 30 minutes later plus. So, it's trying to figure out, with his supposedly two of Christopher's devices pinging in that area around that time, supposedly. I don't know if it's rumored, if it's fact or what, right? I'm just, throwing it out there. And then it's just like, the one thing that gets me on this whole thing is that kind of really bugs me is when it comes to the Nancy Grace with Seth, when he did the lie detector test, remember? And he was asked some questions, and he was asked that question about what he thought could have possibly happened to Sebastian. And when we know now that the medication had just recently been changed 2 weeks prior to Sebastian Rogers going missing. And then if you go back and you read the statement that FBI put out when they first put out the reward, and then Chris and Katie jumped on the wagon to thank them, remember? We hope that this reward will find the answers to bring Sebastian home safe, Katie and Chris. And so I'm wondering all along if they thought that money, a reward, was going to bring this child home. How come as much money as they have, they didn't put up a reward? How come they decided to wait 10 months and throw their money into a private eye? I mean, that's a lot of money that could have went into a reward fund to make it even higher. Eventually you get it high enough, unless they're the only ones that hold the answers. If someone else knows something, whoever was in that car, now, if that was Christopher, then they know damn good and well the only way that the truth will ever come out is if that video is cleared up and they can actually visually see who it is, right? And I think they know this, and I think that's why they've been, doing the taunting and all the BS they've been doing, right? And so I'm stuck at a point now to where we know that it was most likely the motive was the court. He didn't want to lose faith. He didn't want to go to jail, which nobody wants to go to jail. He didn't want any of these bad things to happen to him, but he had caused all this himself. Nobody asked him to hit Sebastian with a belt and brag about it on TV. No one asked him to talk about that on TV. He decided to bring, they kind of burying themselves in this whole thing. And then they want to get mad at everybody else and go suing people and doing this and that whenever the reason that we're speculating the way we are and trying to dig the way we are is because of things that they've put out there. Well, minus Katie. She just hasn't really spoke very much. She's a mom that doesn't want her child home. And so she doesn't beg, right? In my opinion. That's just allegedly my opinion. But my big alleged bubble, right? And my trigger warning times 200 million. And Ribby's too. But, it's clearly... we're trying to get set up here. But, I wanted to go over this real quick because I did get those emails. And I was like, man, out of 10 states, they're pretty much all the same. Other than a few. But most of them are the same. It's about if there's an immediate threat to the child or they feel that the child is in severe danger, they will put that person out of the home, whether it be boyfriend, stepfather, bio father, mother, girlfriend, whatever it may be, right? So, yeah, that's an old ball. Yeah, old ball. And so it's kind of one of these things that to me is just adding icing to the cake, right? Because I'm wondering what all is in the CPS reports for Hendersonville. New Mexico court, I think Nina kind of explained that to us, right? We got to get some answers on that one, right? We kind of know what that is now and what they did to Nina and what they did to Faith. And then, we know now that he lied to the court system in New Mexico, and I hope they get him for it. I really do. I hope that they get him good for it. And to show, hey, you're not going to get away with this all the time, right? Because this is the pattern that he follows, and he seems to get away with it all the time. But, as we look at it now, we feel, and I think I'm not the only one, I think a lot of y'all feel that something is fixing to go down, right? That something's fixing to crash and burn. There's nothing in there, boo. And, the crap's going to hit the fan, right? And I do feel that way. And I pray that way, right? I think we all do. We need justice for Sebastian Rogers. And we have to keep up, keep him in the spotlight. Not them, him. Of course, we're doing really good at keeping them in the spotlight. But we need to focus more, I believe, on couple of days before, maybe even a month before, right? Because, there's some things that I haven't even talked about yet that I had been doing in the beginning. like trying to, figure out the Bauer socks and ties to their families and people that could have possibly been the one in that vehicle that would have helped them out. And because, at first I really didn't think that stepdad, Step Bear would be dumb enough to come there. But then again, now, with no proof that he was at work, right? Ellie hasn't come out and said, oh, yep, he was seen on camera at his travel trailer the whole entire night. He never left. We could see him. We know he was there. No, they haven't done any of that. And they haven't explained why he moved campgrounds either, which is another big question I have. And is, why did he move campgrounds? Why did he, he'd been staying at that one for so long. Did he switch to did he rush to go down there and get that travel trailer and get it out of that place before? But, we know now FBI or Secret Service, whoever had been down there, and they've spoke to the campgrounds. They've got the footage of all that. So I'm hoping that that's going to spread a little more light. We know that they're building their case. Like I said, the two main factors in this whole thing to me are the Tinkerbell video and the landfill search. Because I don't care what anybody says. Eric Craddock has kind of tried to push the narrative from the beginning that there's no video evidence of Sebastian Rogers leaving that home. And we know now that to be different. But we have to understand that he's trying to protect Sebastian, right? He's trying to protect the investigation. We know now that the ties were flipped so soon, with it being like, we're not going to keep searching these woods here because we feel that it needs to be investigated. So I just wish that they would have taken full control of that in the very beginning. Although I don't think they would have been dumb enough for something to have happened in that house, unless it was just medicine-wise, knocking him out that way, trigger warning. And I don't think that something would have transpired worse than that to where it would have been forensics needed in that home. And that would have just been more, one more plus for them if they would have done that and turned up nothing, right? That would have been one more weapon that the prophets could have used in their favor. So I know a lot of y'all are upset that they didn't do that, but I feel like, why give them any more leg to stand on, right? Because that's probably what that would have done. It's not like the dog theory, right? The dog went over here, the dog went over there. We know that the dog had his scent. We know that Ellie's lying, the sheriff's lying. All these people that y'all praise and thank, all these different state and federal and local and all these people that y'all are thinking day in and day out, all the law enforcement, y'all are patting them on the back. They were lined up down the road. You're calling them liars. Christopher Prophet is calling them all liars to their face, saying the dogs did hit a scent. They're saying the dogs did not hit a scent. So let's think about that one. I'm going to leave y'all with that note, because that's the point that I really wanted to hit was, think about it. He praises them on every show he's on, how the cars were lined up down the road and they've done such a wonderful job and they're so great, and FBI put out a reward that's going to hopefully bring Sebastian home. But yet, all the things that they're telling you about the dogs, you don't believe them. You're basically saying they're lying. And that, to me, is something that is really starting to blow my mind as far as, how much he has thanked them. But you really, if you're going to call him a liar, don't thank him. You're basically saying your own people in your own county, your own sheriffs, your own local law, your own state and federal agencies, all those agencies you name that vet this and vet that, and vet this and vet that, are all lying about the dogs. Wow. I don't believe it. We know they didn't pick up a trail. I mean, look how many kids are found by scent dogs. And you're going to tell me that all the dogs that were brought in this case for some reason were just bad dogs. Or, no, one of them was a good dog and one of them found Sebastian's trail, right? No, that's a trail that y'all made. That's a dummy trail to me if they did find anything at all. Which, there's no proof that they found any scent. So, we got to look at it that way, guys. Come on, Rube, this way. We got to go get set up. We got to go find Josh. Come on, Rube. Let's go. And so anyway, guys, we're going to leave y'all at that because we got to get going this morning. Daylight's just breaking. We got to get on the hunt, and so we will come on a little later and visit with y'all. I did want to drop this, and I will work on those other videos. We did not get any fire chats done last night. I'm so sorry. We were swamped. We didn't actually get home until probably midnight, a little after midnight, so I did not have the time last night to do it. I'm sorry, guys, but anyway, we'll make up for it tonight. We'll do some long ones tonight and get that going, and we'll get some updates today on the planes and stuff like that. I know there's a little bit coming out now about how air traffic controllers were understaffed, but it's saying 90% of airports are understaffed like that. So I don't know, guys. We'll keep y'all posted. Me and Ruby are going to be out and about, so we love y'all, guys. We appreciate y'all. Remember, allegedly, these are all our opinions and just our speculations. So a big alleged bubbles, right? So we'll talk to y'all on the next one, guys. Trigger warning. Justice for Sebastian Rogers. We have to continue to be his little soldiers and keep fighting for him. And we will see y'all on the next one, guys. We love y'all, guys. All right. Justice for Sebastian Rogers. Justice for all missing, right? All voiceless. All runaways. They run for a reason. So let's keep up the fight, guys. We'll talk soon. All right. Bye.